Hey folks, Vortex here and welcome to my review of the Gizaudio Binary Acoustics Chopin, if that's a correct pronunciation. This is a collab between TImmy from Gizaudio and obviously Binary Acoustics, as you can see there. But to be honest, that's a company I've never heard of before. And as usual, full disclaimer, I'd like to thank Hi-Fi Go for putting me on the review tour. So this unit is not to keep, so this is just a temporary item, to be honest. And yeah, pretty much it. So 3BA, 1DD per side, and it's priced at $199. I have my thoughts about that later on, and yeah, let's just carry on. So let's have a look at what you get. Obviously, information there, the model, the collab info. Again, like I said, I never heard of them. Bit of information. So the DD, 8mm DD. I think 10 is the sweet spot and 3BAs. Obviously there's information. Impedance is actually quite low. Sensitivity is actually quite high, and these are really easy to power. Frequency response. I've also measured this myself if you ever want to check that. This comes with a 3.5mm. So I like the idea of that. Very simple. A bit different. Now as a spoiler, I've been using these, and obviously these aren't new. So let's get these out. So here's what they look like. So there is no left or right markers on here, if you've noticed. I have to focus. So there's no L or R. Normal 2-pin. So this one is the right one. I have to focus. So that's the right one. This one, it's got Binary Acoustics, is the left one. See, there's no left or right on there, and that's what the looks like from the side. And here you get some paperwork, as you can see there. Tips, which are generic. Here's the cable. You can get it 3.5 and 4.4. Obviously this is 3.5. It's got the branding on there. You get a cleaning brush. And you get 6 tips. Obviously 3 pairs. I'll just get one out. So that's what they look like. So just normal generic kind of tips, as you can see. Nothing special. And that's it. So stop waffling on, and yeah, let's get to the review. So welcome to my review section of the Gizaudio Binary Acoustics Chopin. Now let's talk about comfort, as I think that's number one, and then probably build after that. So comfort on this set is, I don't find very good. See, they always feel like it's sitting in your ear like that. The shape's not very ergonomic, to be honest. So yeah, I didn't really find it that comfortable, and I think a few others are in the same boat, which is a bit of a letdown. Comfort should be, I think, number one. If you get that perfect, then you get the tuning really good. You should have a nice set. But yeah, the comfort and ultimately fit, I don't think it's good enough, really, in my opinion. So build quality is, I think, average. Now this is a $199 set. Again, I think it should be better. And the tips it comes with are just generic cheap ones. They do work though, obviously, but you know, they could be better. Also for this review, I was provided the velvets, which is these. But they're quite large. So you might be actually better off with your own tips, or include, you know, whatever tips you use best. But yeah, let's talk about pound sensitivity. These are very easy to power, no issues at all, and that's pretty much straightforward. So technicalities on this set is okay. Resolution is kind of okay, and that's all I can say. Timbre of this, it has a bit of that BA timbre to it. I think it's because it uses customized drivers, which are normally cheaper drivers. So if a company says if it's got Knowles or Sonian, they advertise it's got those type of drivers because it's a brand, and with the brand comes quality. But when they say it's custom, it normally means cheaper drivers, as in quality. So yeah, this can be a bit of BA timbre. It just depends on what you're listening to, really. Isolation on this set was, again, average. I think it could have been ultimately better, really. And yeah, Soundstage on this set, it had good width sometimes, I mean, the imaging on this set is actually okay as well. And yeah, so let's get all the little nitty and gritty out of the way. So tuning, because that's what it's all about. So I'll put the graph up now so you can have a look. Now, bass is, it has kind of that more like kind of subwoofer approach. So it's a bit lean on the mid bass, shall we say. It has more like rumble to it. So me, for electronic, I prefer more bleed into the lower mids, just gives things a bit more body, and this doesn't have that. Obviously you can EQ if you want to, but by default tuning, the bass is separate. Now it depends on what your genre is. Now for electronic, I prefer a little bit of bleed into the lower mids to give it more kick, more life to it, but it can sound cleaner when it's like this, when it's separated. It all depends obviously on preference, but I particularly don't prefer this kind of bass basically. Yeah, so mid-range, it can sound a bit thin. Female vocals are ahead of male vocals on this set, and apart from that, they do sound quite lean and quite clean, to be honest. You can tell it's very carefully. This is like, it seems to be like it was tuned from a graph. How they've separated the bass so clean in a way, obviously in the crossover. But yeah, the mid-range is actually okay, but again, I prefer more meat, so we say, down the bottom, more bleed from the bass, and I prefer more gradual gain into the presence region, into the lower treble, and that's it really. So treble on this set is, it can be a bit shouty. It's tuned, I think, a little bit of aggressively down the bottom, and then it does ease off further on. So it seems quite bright sometimes, which again, like when you see you got that 2K rise, for me I prefer it to stop there, but it keeps going. So as some folks may call it shouty, and it can be, it just depends on what, basically, as well, how loud you listen to. I prefer a smoother treble response, and sometimes it sounds a bit refined, unrefined, which again I maybe think is from the BAs they've used. I think they've used more affordable BAs, but it's not affordable cost, in my opinion. And yeah, that's the treble. Matching seems pretty good. Again, I listened to this before I graphed it, and the channel matching is more than enough. There's a slight imbalance you can see in the bass and a little bit in the treble, but you can't really hear that, to be honest. So for my use case, I personally don't prefer the tuning in this. But obviously I do respect Timmy's tuning, and obviously he's tuned it for what he likes. And yeah, so conclusion of this set. What do I think of it? I think it's a good set, but it's too expensive. This is $199. I think it should be half that, to be honest. It has the same driver setup, well, same driver count as the Truthia Hexes, and at $80. And these are $199. I think these are overpriced. The shape could be a little bit more ergonomic, and I think what they've used cheaper drivers and they're charging quite a bit for it, from my opinion, that is. But technically how they do technically perform quite good. The tuning on it is okay, it's just not what my preference is. And that's it really. Like, I was probably a little bit disappointed with it. They're not a bad set. But then you've got competition, again, the Hexa, which is the same driver count. And you've got the Nova, and you've got the Simgot EM6L. They are much cheaper than this. The Nova is $50 less, which is quite a feat. And I prefer the cable and the build, the tuning. I prefer that set over this. But yeah, this is not a bad set, but I think it's too expensive. Like the tips are kind of average for what it comes with. Build, the fit I think should have been much better. I think these might be 3D printed. They just seem a bit too expensive in my opinion. They should be, my opinion, half. So they should be $99. And that's it. So yeah, they're okay. Bass is pretty good if you like a separate subwoofer-ish kind of sounding. Mid-range is okay. Again, it's more, I think, more vocal forward. I prefer just balanced in there, and the treble can be a bit forward too much, and it's got that BA timbre, which is typically from, well, I've found from cheaper BA balanced armatures. And that's pretty much it. So if you want anything more in particular, please let me know quick, because these have to go back. So yeah, obviously thanks to Hi-Fi Go and thanks to Camify for like organising this kind of review tour. And yeah, see you in the next video.